about Noel Edmonds today. Good morning.
How are you?
Did you notice the way Noel Edmonds always wore a blouse?
He did wear a blouse.
He did, you know, like a blouse like my nan would wear. I thought I'd wear a sort of...
I sent Mark off for an appointment yesterday, and as we waved him goodbye, Maddie and I then hung out a bit together, and we just kept spontaneously laughing at the thought of Mark in his session. Where did I send you yesterday?
To a fascia expert.
Well, it's an osteopath, yeah, who specialises in the fascia. What's the fascia, Mark?
It's sort of like it's like tissue that is one bit of tissue that surrounds the entire body and is all interconnected.
It's fascinating. Lots of you
fascinating.
know that it's fascinating. Lots of you know I've struggled really badly with plantar fascia, and I call this man Magic Mike, because he managed to sort out my plantar fascia that I've been struggling with for years in one session. So I was really keen for Mark to go, because I just think the amount of working out that Mark does, and he gets lots of headaches, and I'm convinced that it's all because of around his neck here.
Does he know he's called Magic Mike?
I told him, because
Yeah,
my family
goes.
My mum goes, my sister goes, everyone goes. Anyway, so we kept laughing, imagine, because Mark gets very, very embarrassed and shy about these sorts of appointments, as do I, if I'm honest. And he really didn't want to go in. Anyway, we were waiting for him when he came. You'll have to put the photos up. He was oblivious, he had no idea.
He took photos?
Maddie took photos. And from here, all the way around here, he had a red circle where I said, what have you done? Because you could see it was where, you know when you're on those osteopathic beds and you've got your face down. I said, how the hell have you managed to get that mark? Tell them.
Well, I said to him at the point that he turned me over and placed my head in the hole that is in a massage, what do you call it, a massage bed. You know when you put your head in the hole?
The hole in.
Yeah. And I just prior to this told him I'd made a film years ago about a masseuse who essentially kills someone. And I don't know whether he seemed to get a lot more sort of heavy-handed after that, because I think he sort of felt a judgment was in there. Anyway, I'm not exaggerating when I say the pain I experienced was some of the most extreme, agonising pain I've ever experienced in my life.
If any of you have seen Mark's film, The Masseuse, this will be so much funny. But anyway...
So I was, just to explain, I was pushing my head against the hole so hard, because otherwise I'd have made, and I did at one point make this noise. Because he got under a rib that both tickled and nearly killed me.
He was in such agony that he didn't even know what he'd done to his face. And it looked like he had a red toilet seat. Oh my God, it was so funny.
I look like I'd pressed my face against a toilet seat.
But this man is a miracle worker.
Well, I've yet to discover whether he is or not yet.
Whoa.
But he showed me, Lee, you might be interested in this. He showed me one movement that I did, and he looked at me topless on his desk after he'd done this movement, and then tested me, and then did something, and then hurt me, and then tested me again, and then hurt me again, and then tested me again. And he looked at me and he went like this. He said, "You've got a six-pack in there, and we're going to get it out."
Yes, because Mark has been working so hard on working out. Now, why did he tell you that you couldn't see a six-pack?
Because of my core, not using my core properly, and my fascia
why you've got the problem
not
with the
connecting.
fascia in your neck,
yeah.
and that's why you've got headaches.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Maybu
the fascia is an amazing thing.
Maybu says, "Oh my God, so Mark's been to Magic Mike and has tickled and hurt by Mike." Sounds interesting. Yeah, it was interesting. Thanks, Zoe. You love the masseuse. It's pretty hideous
so
stuff.
Zoe, you can understand why Maddie and I found it even funnier. That
Oh, Lee, your headaches might be from weight training, as I had that last year.
Yeah, because your fascia. Yeah. Because if you haven't properly turned on your core, Lee, what happens is the neck takes over. So he said to me, Magic Mike, so many of these people that do these multiple sit-ups and gym stuff have chronic headaches because the neck takes over.
Reem, I wouldn't share your contact details on here. No, I wouldn't. So, thank you very much, Jackie Vellino. Cara Glassbook. Morning, first live chat as a member. Finally joined after watching all your videos since the first lockdown and listened to all your podcasts. And you will get a welcome, Cara Glassbook.
Welcome, Cara Glassbrook. Oh, God, I might have to stop.
No, we'll wait till the end. We'll wait to the end when Nadia will have found her voice.
So
yeah.
Maybe I could get Lee on now to sing.
So
Lee, we've got to get a time that we speak today. We've got so much to chat about.
So yeah, Yeah, so it's been a strange week of kind of all that sort of stuff. I'm doing my course after this, so that's all good. And what's that story?
Kerry J. Williams, morning, 130 hours to Vlogmas. I love you.
Oh my God. A new vlog is landing tonight as well, and there will be a Meals in Minutes.
And don't forget the quiz, 1st of December, live here with us. And then straight afterwards, the first Vlogmas, where we will be watching on Premiere and chatting to you at the same time.
Now, a bit of confusion as to people asking already, where's the link? I understand, I think Michelle's...
Oh, God.
Working on that, or are you working on that?
Let me
So, yeah, the link, when the link is available, it will be underneath every single film that we upload, basically. How's Teddy doing? Teddy is good.
He was really bad last night, but he's much better.
He was whacked out last night.
Yeah.
I mean, as you would be. He was whacked out. But today he's eating Zeta Zata. He had an egg cress sandwich, didn't he, at one point? Or something?
Yeah,
his appetite's there.
So he couldn't open his eyes yesterday, and we think it was... My dad's really susceptible to medicine, like any sort of medicine. You can give him a quarter of an antihistamine and he's passed out. So he just couldn't open his eyes. He got back yesterday, he was eating sandwiches and stuff, but with his eyes closed. He was very shocked, very shaken, shaky, couldn't get warm. And the thing is, he kept remembering what had happened because of his age. They didn't give him general anaesthetic. They gave him, sedation, and he could remember everything. Well, not everything, but he could remember a lot, and he kept repeating about it. So, but I haven't actually been round this morning. But I've spoken to my mum. I'm going to go over after this. I'm just waiting for a call from the doctor, so I might have to rush off.
Okay.
Yeah, and she said, he's eating Zeta Zata and he's asking what he wants for dinner. So he's 87, man. That's
quite
amazing.
astonishing. He's
But
made of sturdy stuff.
He's feeling rough. He's definitely rough.
Yeah.
And the great thing is, we recorded a Teddy Talks last week, so we've got a Teddy Talk. So you won't have to miss him.
Oh, we have. I need to get that. I haven't got it in my computer.
Oh.
Yeah. Nenad Lukic, I did have to sleep on the couch after the film I put on Instagram. So thank you for
Check
all
out
of your
Mark's
messages.
film on Instagram. It's very funny. There's a clip of it on my Instagram, but go to Mark's Instagram to watch the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's a little shit.
Oh, and also, I think we mentioned it yesterday, Confessions of a Modern Parent has landed. It is about CAMS, it is about NHS provision for our teenagers and young adults, mental health provision, or the lack of it. We really almost hand the entire podcast over to your comments, really. So, yeah.
Oh my God, and we talked a lot before and after about all of you, because we were just really moved by your shares to us.
Yeah.
It was a lot.
And before we get on with the news, can I just ask...
Teddy is home, Faith, yeah.
What is your experience of vaping and youngsters? Because this is looking like it's going to be our next subject, isn't it?
It's definitely going to be our next subject.
Yeah.
Talking to Maddie the other day, obviously Maddie's older, but in the young groups, and a friend of mine's daughter, oh my
Russ,
God,
check out my
it is
Instagram.
a massive thing in schools. And apparently some of these vapes are the equivalent of 120 cigarettes.
120 cigarettes in terms of the
So the
nicotine
kids are getting
load.
high on the nicotine. So, I'm going to put a story up about that today. So if any of you have any comments on that, please comment and we'll read them out on the podcast.
Michelle Chandler, welcome back. Nenad Lukic, I haven't watched Hawkeye yet, but
Hi,
I am
Michelle.
going to watch it and I am going to react to it. So,
Morning,
yeah,
Gina.
vaping. Schools are struggling with it almost on a level that they struggle with mobile phones. They've let mobile phones go. Will vaping be the next thing? Is vaping bad? There's research that shows that vaping can in fact be more dangerous than smoking. What do you think of it all?
We think from the conversations that we had the other night with this friend of mine's daughter and with Maddie, we came to the conclusion it's alco pops. It's the alco pops of smoking, and we
Morning,
really
Ashley.
have all been just, I think, sleepwalking around the vaping and kids. So that's going to be our next podcast.
Zoe says she heard about a vape blowing up in someone's face.
Yeah.
I mean, I always...
Oh, Emma, I'm glad you're feeling better.
Oh,
Poor
Emma,
Emma's
yes,
had
norovirus. Norovirus, what does that do? Does that make
very,
you sick?
very sick.
Right.
Like,
how do you get it? What do you get it from? Is it a sort of tummy bug? Or?
it's really unpleasant. I
Oh,
remember
you poor
once
thing.
licking a handle that somebody had held, hoping
Oh.
I would get it because I was so fucked up about being fat.
Really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, I can't quite believe that. When was this? Must have been a long time ago, right? I've never heard it. I'd not until the recent years.
You do not want it. It's awful.
Right. Oh my God, that's properly... My family had norovirus recently, Lee. It's spreading quite a lot, is
Yeah.
it? Oh, my
Oh, did they,
God.
babe?
Nicole Marcella, vaping is just as bad. Well, this is what we're going to discuss.
Everywhere.
Have you popped something on your Insta stories yet about vaping?
No, not yet.
But when she
because I wanted
does,
to
feed
get
into it.
Information.
Now, I mean, how do we talk about this without, changing the mood? I think we should talk about the migrant crisis again. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago.
Morning,
it's a very
really.
somber morning, and obviously there's a lot more deaths, there's a lot more people. And I was a bit annoyed with a certain radio presenter this morning
Nick Ferrari.
who was closing down, but closing down in the most undemocratic fashion, just closing down.
That's what he does.
But just turning the phone off as soon as someone wasn't being offensive, wasn't being low-level offensive, before anyone gets all excited about how trolls are and all that kind of stuff. But someone was presenting an alternate viewpoint, which was simply that unless you deal with the underlying problem in the countries in question, unless you share and say that this is a global problem rather than a national problem, you're never ever going to get close to solving the problem.
But
You're only going to
maybe
be
we should
treating
just-
the symptoms.
Just say first of all what's happened, because some people might not have seen the news. I think so a boat that came across from Calais unfortunately capsized.
Yeah,
27 people are dead. Children, pregnant woman.
might have gone up
I
to
think.
33. I'm
Well,
not
there
sure.
seems to be.
Yeah.
I was looking. We don't have the numbers yet. Absolutely tragic. Imagine being so petrified of where you are in your life that you get into a boat, not being able to swim, pregnant. So before everybody starts screaming and shouting, and the French are blaming the Brits, and the Brits are blaming the French, these poor
Desperate
souls
humans.
had the most awful death. Imagine clinging onto your children, holding your baby, and you're drowning in the freezing cold and dark. I think the way that a lot of the reporting today has been quite disgusting.
Really?
Everybody pointing fingers. Well, I do.
Well,
You
to
know,
be fair, though, governments, are they not reporting the fact that governments are pointing the finger?
there's very serious mudslinging going across in a really unsavoury way between both parties. And in fact, a French minister came out today and said, can we just all stop?
Well,
for a
and also,
minute?
well, maybe
because these people have only just died.
But you see, that French minister said something that is going to cause all sorts of strife and split opinions and sort of jingoistic kind of attitudes. And I think it was one of the French ministers, maybe the guy you're talking about, said that it's because the UK is such an attractive proposition.
Well, they just had a minister on Nick Ferrari, French minister, screaming, "Why are you making it so attractive? Why?" There are lots of angry people on the radio today, and I just think, God, can we actually think about those poor souls? There was a very lovely, measured man that rang up, and he said, "You know what? Do you know what we have to do with this crisis? Is we have to allow people in with a good immigration policy. There are still more people leaving this country apparently than coming in. Apparently we're at the lowest rates. We've got this very dramatic situation at the moment." And I was thinking, so much of why do people flee their countries? So much of that is to do with the West and how we clodhopper through these countries, destroying them, and then just turn and leave them in an absolute
Don't
mess.
say that to Nick Ferrari, because he'll turn you off.
Well,
I mean, unless you acknowledge that. I mean, you can. I know what he was doing. What he was trying to say, or what the argument is. We're dealing with what's happening today, tonight, tomorrow. We're dealing with the problem with boats coming across the channel today. I get that, but also you need to, in the same breath, look at, okay, well, what the fuck is causing this? It's not about...
Unless you look at the cause. And also, excuse me, we don't have anyone to pick our fruit. We don't have anyone to drive our HGV things. We don't have enough nurses, enough doctors. We don't have enough of a workforce here. Why can't we have a decent immigration system to let a certain number of people come in? And as this chap was saying on the radio today, he said, when has immigration ever been a problem for us? Immigration has helped this country prosper. You know.
Yeah, it's defined our certainly our biggest growth moments in the story. But some would see that also as exploitation. I mean, immigration has helped
and
this
people
country.
have to be treated properly when they come in. Absolutely.
Yeah, but they haven't
We
been.
don't
I
let
mean, you know, and
No,
that's
but
why
in
so
the-
many jobs aren't being filled because people are being exploited. I mean, I think one of the other issues is having an immigration policy. Once again, we're looking at breaking news: Richard Madeley in hospital. Kessie. There's a more pressing issue. I think the whole problem with immigration and numbers, it's not about "I told you so" or anything like that. But this is what the EU did.
Yeah.
This is what the EU tried to balance the number of people so that everyone shared the weight. And what's happening now is, and you could argue that there is an element in the French. The thing is, there's truth in everything. You know, there's an element of the French going slow. You know, work to rule and all that kind of stuff, not actually doing anything. But to what extent is it? I mean, I keep going back to this. France is dealing with its own migration. To what extent is it France's responsibility, actually, given that we happen to be an island? They're not responsible for us being an island that's gettable to across the water. You know, how much, I mean, you know, some responsibility, but so too is it the responsibility of Belgium, the Netherlands, northern Spain, I presume, all these countries. I just don't understand. I think to keep banging on about the French is to avoid our own responsibility.
This is what the French are saying. There was a very strong, one of them came out and said, listen, you've got to understand, Boris is shying away from a problem here. He is not dealing with it, and he is just simply pointing the finger everywhere else. And there is some truth in that. David Blunkett was on the radio earlier saying, you know, absolute disgrace that we've not heard anything from Priti Patel either. They sent out a junior
where's
minister.
she gone?
They sent out, well, she's talking to the French.
Right.
But you know, he you know, their mismanagement of this situation. And the French are absolutely furious that everything is being blamed on them, which I can understand.
Yeah.
But meanwhile, 27 or 31, we don't know which, poor souls died in the most petrifying way last night. Can we not just be a bit more human? Can we not find a better way to deal with this?
Can I also just ask, where's that damp squib of the United Nations? Why have they just completely folded?
When are they ever any bloody
Are they
good?
playing bar billiards in a pub in London or something? Because they never seem to be at the front of anything anymore. Where are they? What should be happening now is a global effort to try and help the global crisis in migration and immigration and refugees and displacement of people. I mean, it's a mass problem that's only going to get worse.
Yeah. And listen, I'm not saying let these people in so we can work them into the ground because we are. And I would hate it if that's how it came across, because many people are fleeing the most horrific situations. But what I'm talking about, could we make this work for everybody?
Yeah.
Could we not be kinder? Could we not open our borders in a kinder, more controlled way, where we give people that are coming from the most terrible of situations and make it work for everybody?
Yeah.
Because the one thing you don't want is to bring people over and just load them into camps.
Yeah.
You know, and not give them a life. What is it they say? Give the man a pound or give the man what's that thing? Give the man a fish or give the man a fishing rod. You know, give people what they need to build a life, and that helps, and it works for everybody. I just think.
Okay, so we're kind of wrapping up on that, but I mean, that's just a story that I think we all need to have a bit more tolerance and recognise that the story sits in the grey area. It's not black and it's not white. All of it sits in the grey area. But yes, you're right, guys. I'm a celebrity horror as Richard Madeley is rushed to hospital after falling ill in the night. The TV presenter left stars and production staff terrified with his sudden illness, which saw medics rush to the castle where the ITV show is filmed.
Oh, God.
Richard had taken part in his first solo trial and scenes aired last night. Oh, no. It was horrifying. Campers were really upset and concerned. All of the crew and medics rushed to set to help him. It was a real scare. He was taken to a nearby hospital as a precaution, but is now on the mend. Richard's scare came just one day after he was seen on TV doing the show's kitchen
what
nightmare
was
spot.
it?
Well, they're not saying.
Oh, God. I hate that sort of reporting.
Oh, it's such a, yeah.
It's just terrible.
So in a sense, you wonder whether if he's
he'd had a
if he's on the
heart
mend and if he's okay.
So what was it then? Indigestion? I hate that.
Was it indigestion? We're going to get to the Botswana variant now, or we're going to go to the Botswana variant. Has anyone heard about the Botswana variant, first of all? Has anyone heard about it? And apparently, if it takes hold, it's going to be called the new variant, as in NU, new, because I think we're at N.
First and foremost, this is tiny amounts in a far-flung place in Africa where, interestingly, they said they have very good testing. So when they say there's only very few, and they really do know that because they test quite
and it's only popped up in a couple of other countries. But it's just another.
But we didn't really want to talk about it because we don't know if this is scaremongering. But we thought maybe we should because we know lots of you live on your own, and it's that sort of thing that could just get into you and just get there. But I mean, I think at the moment it's a tiny thing. I just got a feeling, though we can't know, that it is a bit like that we just saw there with Richard, a bit of whipping up the fear, because the fear is
the Daily Mail, the Sun, they're all running with it. You know, I was more curious to look at the different colours of all the different names of all the other variants we've had. We've had the Alpha, the Beta, the Gamma, the Delta, the Epsilon, the Zeta, the Eta, the Theta, the Iota, the Kappa, the Lambda, the Mu. It sounds like a song and I need to go to the loo.
But you know, there's some great news in Japan. They think that the Delta variant has the what was it you were calling?
Child of Delta.
Child of Delta has killed out the Delta. They are down in Tokyo to 4 cases in days. So that is, I would like that to be seen everywhere at the moment as well, for us to balance it out.
Ninad Lukic says, all I can say is wear your mask and don't be selfish. I quite agree, couldn't agree more. Is it because the journalist is bored, says Angela Locke. Joanne Littlewood, bloody COVID. Laurel Nichols.
Oh, I just got my booster thing too, Jenny. I just got my request to boost.
Laurel Nichols just back references the Richard Madeley story. Maybe he ran out of hair mousse. It's all Greek to me. Jackie Valino, very funny. I mean, very good. I mean, in terms of the Botswana variant, yes, of course you need to... Look, this is the thing for me, is that this is why it is important to look at the number of reinfections and infections and new cases. That's why, in a sense, that number is important, because one of the things is we've cut the connection between death and coronavirus.
But we haven't with infection.
But we haven't with infection. And the problem with that is that with infection is the possibility of mutation and all that kind of stuff. And
don't forget, all viruses, like they mutate and those words sound so scary, but it's happening all the time. We just never had to think about these words, and don't get too upset about it. It's think about the young Delta variant killing out.
Now we know
the grandma variant.
I've popped it in the title just because I don't think one can talk about depression and mental health issues too much. We know a few people at the moment who are struggling with not their children, but their sort of teenage young adult kids who are struggling with depression in colleges. And the rate of depression amongst students has increased during COVID-19. I mean, none of this is surprising headlines. I suppose it's, excuse me, what happened there? Is a confirmation of everything we were worried about when we were in lockdown. And so a study at the Ulster University has shown that depression amongst young adults is causing mass disruption in universities as kids are struggling to cope, are finding themselves alienated, isolated. Suicide attempts are on the increase. So there's a very real problem. And if you think about it, coming out of everything we've gone through, I do think some of this will be that thing of the return to a so-called normal that feels like it's lost its luster and its allure. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of lost its, wow, because, so things have sort of been shown for what they are in many regards. So I think once again, it's just, let's avoid snowflake, let's avoid softies, let's avoid querying whether people really have mental health, and let's just sort of spare a thought for the fact that, different categories of people. It's tough out there for young adults, it really is. So there's that. Now, Nadia, you have a story about how to halt stress and anxiety. Yes, please.
Have you ever heard of the vagus nerve?
Is that in Las Vegas?
It's spelt Vagus, but it's actually pronounced Vegas.
Sounds like a casino advert.
Does anybody know?
Steffi Quinlan says yes.
What is it?
I presume that's in answer to the Vegas question. Oh, let me do. Yep, Pauline Mulvey, Teresa A. Yes, vagus nerve.
I
Ellen.
see lots of people know about it.
Oh, what is the? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, so hang on, let me get the actual definition. Doesn't stay in there. No. The longest of the cranial nerves. It starts at the base of your brain.
Right.
It connects your throat, ear, and facial muscles.
Ooh.
Oh, this is my doctor.
Oh, okay. Natasha Tiramos. I believe it controls our sympathetic nervous system. Sadly, I don't know anything about this story. So let me have a look. Let's see if we can. Does anyone here know anything?
I got cut off.
Oh no!
I sent it on your WhatsApp. It's on.
It's okay. I can't access it.
Yeah. So it runs all the way down into the gut.
Yeah. No, go and take that call. It's much more important. Does anyone here know what a vagus nerve is? I literally haven't got a clue. Parasympathetic system. My laptop isn't allowing me to move on. Vagus nerve, seat to the soul, good ship lollipop. Bloody hell. Let me see if I can pull it up and find it here. Abandoned Spanish village reappears underwater 30 years? 30 years, after 30 years underwater. Everything, I'm trying to find the story. No, can't. If you have a very active nerve, it can cause fainting. That's what I thought, Laura Lou. The vagus nerve is being drunk. It's being nervous in Las Vegas. That's what I thought. Amka79, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Amka79. And we missed it yesterday and we're sorry. And now Nadia's not here, but there is still a mop. Happy birthday to you. Vagus syncope. My God, that sounds like a villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Suffering with depression in Africa is a nightmare. Regina Mushi, you might as well not mention to anyone. You'll be shunned and stigmatized. It's a very important point. I mean, in some countries, it just doesn't exist. In some countries, there's not even a word for it. Did you know that? If your vagus nerve is out of whack, it causes a lot of illness. I have a book on it, Moira Instance. Okay. Where does it run? Does it run down the center of your body? I mean, I was fascinated by the fascia doctor or the fascia osteopath. I do believe that, our bodies are an organic whole, that if you affect one part of it, then it affects another part. What's that? Vasovagal event equals fainting. Syncope is fainting. Depression has become a normal thing to talk about. Nenad Lukic, you're absolutely right. It's about the sympathetic nervous system. You don't mean sympathetic as in whether you can show sympathy. You mean sympathetic as into the rest of the body, right? God, I can't even get my head around it. Well, what we'll do is we'll make sure that Nadia on the next coffee moaning or what's it called? The afternoon thing we do. Oh my God, what is it? Wine o'clock. That she'll talk about it. New law for stealing dogs to get a longer sentence. Actually, yes, no, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, and it is good news. And yes, you'll see the headline now that Richard Madeley has been rushed to hospital, but the back end of the story is don't click on it, he's fine, or he's on the mend, he's much better, and they don't even tell you why he fainted. And as if the news isn't bad enough, there's a gas leak at a Spanish nuclear power plant, leaving 1 dead and 3 in hospital. So, the world is a tricky and choppy place. I'm now currently looking to see if there's a nice and finally story that's gonna cheer us up. Oh, Ant McPartlin's ex, Lisa Armstrong, is showing off weight loss in stunning new snap. I can't say that's particularly an and finally. Let's have a look. Scientists perplexed by flesh-eating vulture bees that have quit pollen to feed on dead bodies. Okay, well there you go. That's a curious and rich image to leave you with. Have a lovely day, guys. A vlog is landing later and a meal's in minutes too. Oh, do you want to talk Vegas?
Yeah, I'm back.
You're back. Oh, good. You were saved by the bell there, guys. I was literally sitting there paddling around, not knowing what the hell to say about Vegas.
So the vagus nerve, and have people been knowing about it?
Look, most people here know everything about it. I know nothing about it.
Well,
it's a sympathetic nerve, I know
these
that.
are the sorts of things, guys, that you don't understand how important you are to me. Because Mark would not listen to me, will no way listen to me about this. No,
oh, okay.
But because you guys are here, He will listen. So this is all...
Is that possibly why I was rushing myself through it?
Because everything that comes up on how to manage, also, obviously you're on medication and you will be, but there are so many other ways to manage stress and anxiety and all that are very, very powerful, that are ancient methods. And I don't think we use them enough in conjunction with medication or talking therapies.
I'm listening.
You're not.
I am.
Mark, it's really
I'm just
annoying.
having to check something.
Right, just repeat what I just... repeat
you,
what I just...
You were sharing with everyone.
Repeat what...
I wasn't listening. I wasn't listening, sorry. So go on.
No.
No, you said...
I tell you what, I'm not going to help you.
Well, no, don't, but help everyone else.
I don't want you to
desperate
know anything
what
about
you're
your Vegas... Well, you go and sit in the car.
I want to know what about my vagus nerve. I was just checking, actually, if it's Thanksgiving today. Because someone said Happy Thanksgiving. I'm actually doing research on the right whilst you're sharing.
At the very moment, I'm saying I'm really glad that the people are here so they can make you listen about the vagus nerve.
Okay,
you're researching.
I'm sorry. I saw Thanksgiving.
You deserve to be stressed. You deserve to have
All right,
anxiety.
just get on with it. Tell me.
So the vagus nerve runs from the base of the brain right down into the gut. Now, the first time I heard about the vagus nerve, my sister talks about the vagus nerve all the time, was from my amazing gut woman that I've spoken to you about. Follow her, the Gut Clinic. She's amazing. Basically, we have to look after it. And I know you're all going to hate this, but one of the best ways to deal and look after the vagus nerve is deep breathing.
There's something else that was also good for it.
What?
You didn't know I knew this.
What?
Thanks, Alice. Apparently, it's really stimulated with cold water swimming.
Exactly. But that's the other thing I was going to say. Thank you for supporting me in that. So, right. So the sensory receptors in the lungs connect to the vagus.
I'd love to go to Vegas. Yeah.
Ashley, you are not fucking helping.
You're thinking the way I'm thinking.
Right, there are sensory receptors in the lungs that connect to the vagus nerve,
right,
and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system.
What does that
Just
mean?
think about that.
I'm trying to. I'm visualising it.
Right, it's not enough just to breathe, right?
Should I breathe?
The calm down process happens as you exhale because this slows your heart rate. Therefore, it's important to make your exhale longer than your inhale. So you would breathe in for 4, breathe out for 8. What are you doing?
I'm breathing out.
That's not breathing. You're pretending. Who breathes? Like go, ooh. Mark, you're proper acting. It's terrible. There's an app, Breathwork. Try that. Another way is the vagus nerves pass through the inner ear, so you can stimulate it by engaging in active listening of soothing music or even by humming. And guess what is really good for the vagus nerve? I love this. A cat purring. I bet there's a YouTube channel somewhere with just cats purring. Put your hands over your ears and do it. Has anyone ever been to one of those gong baths where they swirl around?
Beg your pardon?
A gong bath.
Last time I went to one of those, you had to wear masks.
No, but listen to the What about the in yoga?
What about the boom? It's an It's not an it's an
Yeah, it's an The in yoga.
What about the
It settles us. It settles us. You can just feel anxious all your life. I'm not even going to try.
I'm feeling anxious trying to remember everything you've told me.
Another way to tickle your vagus nerve. Do you want to tickle your vagus?
I've always wanted my vagus nerve tickled.
Generate sound on your own through singing or humming. So honestly, if you're feeling anxious or feeling stressed, do a deep hum. And this connects all the way down. Isn't it incredible? There you go. Put your hands over your ears as well to amplify the sensation.
Maybu's asking, where's this leading? Where's this going? So this helps with anxiety and stress.
So because we can't all go swimming in a freezing cold fucking pond, like these nutcases that do it, who I wish I was one of them, you can trigger the vagus nerve because this slows... What we're trying to do, remember, is we're trying to slow down our heart rate because that's what helps, and that's how we're doing it through the vagus nerve. because that's what helps us with stress and anxiety, and it directs blood flow to the brain for relaxation.
Okay.
So if you don't want to go cold swimming, you can go out for a brisk walk in the cold air, like today would be amazing. You can put ice on your face, cold water, and it tickles the vagus nerve.
Moira says you can reset the vagus nerve by gargling.
Can you?
Wow.
How interesting.
Well, there you go,
I'm gonna
guys.
try
Thank
gargling.
God you came back. Claire Haywood says, sod that for a lark. Do a Joe Wicks and build a bathtub in your garden. Have a nice bath every day, says Inga Mess.
Well, I'm annoyed we threw our bath away.
Oh, darling, I'm not going to
We
do
could
that
have
in the
put it in
front
the
garden, am I? Yeah, we could have done, actually. Put the plug in. Guys,
Well, we'll just put the plug in and then empty it.
it's Thanksgiving. It's
Today?
yes, Thanksgiving. So happy Thanksgiving. Well, so you guys have said. I presume it is. I can't see on my phone. Happy Thanksgiving to, or is it Merry Thanksgiving? What do you call it? Do you say have a good Thanksgiving or turkey?
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. I've always wanted to celebrate it, and we always miss it. It sort of hits us. And there's a curious rule. Does anyone know the rule with Thanksgiving? It's like it's the third Thursday on the fourth day. If you're standing with your leg left up in the wind, just whistling
What the hell
Dixie.
are you talking about?
Apparently, there's some very odd sort of formula for working out when Thanksgiving is. I can't remember what
Really?
it is. Yeah, it's very strange, I'm sure. Cara Glassbrook. Let's do the welcome. You
Okay.
mushed it up at the beginning. So it's Cara Glassbrook.
Clara. I can't do
Cara
that.
Cara Glassbrook.
Cara
No, I've got better. Cara Glassbrook.
I'm glad you've got a better one.
Welcome to here. Welcome to here.
Because Cara Glassbrook. Cara Glassbrook. Cara Glassbrook. Welcome.
Little taste of what you're going to get in the quiz next Wednesday there. Guys, have a lovely day. Happy Thanksgiving. We're going to
Now,
go.
guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up underneath us. Hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, and do not miss December the 1st quiz at 7, followed by the very first Vlogmas.
Yeah, link coming.
La 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 la.